What up, Screen Fiends? I'm GB, and you're tuned in to Screenheads TV, where we like to discuss all the wonderful things appearing on your movie and your TV screens. Alright, so in this episode, I'm going to give my, sort of predictions on American Gods Season 1, Episode 6, titled Murder of Gods. Now, I say sort of predictions because any of you who've watched my other predictions videos, I'm rarely right. And with certain shows, namely American Gods, it's really hard for me to even try and figure out what's going to happen next. So, there's usually not too much of these videos, but I love the show so much, and I feel compelled to talk about it. So, what better place to talk about it than here, right? All right, so let me talk about the title for a minute before I get into the synopsis. It says a murder of gods. Now, I don't know if you know this, but Odin has two crows that spy for him and everything. You actually see them throughout the show. If you go back and watch now and pay attention, you'll see the two crows. I forget their names. When I do a video about Mr. Wednesday, I'll include the birds also. So he has these two crows or whatever that spy for him. We see that in the last episode as well. Now, a group of crows is that it's not called like a flock of seagulls or whatever, right? Flock of seagulls. It's called a murder. It's a murder of crows. So I kind of like that. A murder of gods, murder of crows. So I think what they're going with this title is a gathering of gods. Just like that. I mean, we all know that's what Wednesday's doing. He's recruiting all these old gods for a gathering so he can try and get them to join forces against the new gods. So I just like the idea of a murder of crows, a murder of gods. So a gathering of crows, a bunch of gods. You see where I'm going with it. All right, let's get into the actual episode now. The synopsis reads, the new gods show of force sends Shadow and Mr. Wednesday on the run and in search of a safe haven in the company of one of Mr. Wednesday's oldest friends, Vulcan, god of fire and the forge. And he's played by the always awesome Corbin Burnson, who I did not know was in this show. But you see, if you watch the trailer, it's obviously Corbin Burnson. You see him forging a sword. He looks like a, tough, like a badass. Like he doesn't really take too much crap. And, that leads to one of the gods to me, right? So I like that. I'm going to look into Vulcan a little bit more so I can learn a little bit more about that particular god. I think we'll be dealing with their escape from the police station still. And then we'll have a little bit of that on the road stuff between Shadow and Wednesday that we all love so much. Can't wait for that. Hopefully, maybe we learn a little bit more about Shadow and who or what he is. I'm sure he's going to have plenty of questions for Mr. Wednesday just by, Shadow's reaction from the last episode. And, man, good acting from Ricky Whittle on that one. I definitely give him a round of applause for that. So I'm sure he's got plenty of questions for Mr. Wednesday. So hopefully, not only will Shadow get some answers, but we'll get some as well. Now, and then we'll get the Corbin Burnson stuff. So it looks like there's going to be friction there between Wednesday and Vulcan. Vulcan doesn't really care for Odin too much, I guess. We'll see some more of that dynamic. I don't know if we'll see any more of the old gods in this episode, but who knows? Hopefully we get to see some of our favorites, right? Or maybe we get new favorites in Vulcan. I hope we get to see Bilquist again. We haven't seen her in a couple of weeks, and even though we don't get a lot from her each episode, and it doesn't seem that she's really tying into the whole thing, unless Wednesday's going to try and recruit her as well. I just like her scenes so much. They're so much fun, and not just because they're sexy and full of sex or whatever, but they're just fun scenes to me. The way she plays it, the way the other actors who are her victims play it, like that. All right, and we also now see from the trailer that we're going to get some Mad Sweeney and Laura action going on. Not action like action, but, them together. So what it looks like to me and what I'm thinking is that Mad Sweeney now is going to try and be hanging around Laura as much as possible, stay as close to her as he possibly can. Basically, even if he has to help her, but basically just so that he could eventually get his hands on that coin, either by her giving it or, like he says, by her dying and him just picking it out of the bones. I love that scene. It was so good. So that should be fun to see the two of them together. And now that, Laura has been shunned by Shadow, who knows what kind of roles she's going to play in the show now, because it seems like Mad Sweeney's trying to turn her against Shadow, saying, Shadow's not your boy no more. That's Wednesday's boy, So yeah, I'm really excited to see where that goes as well. What else did I want to talk about this episode? Oh, I wanted to talk a little bit about the coin. So that's obviously what's giving Laura her power. But I'm still wondering why its shadow has been glowing for her. I know she says that he's the light of her life, but I don't think it could be as simple as just because that was the love of her life. Now that she's in the sort of afterlife, she sees him as a light. I mean, I guess that makes sense, but I don't know if I like that too much. I think I would like a different or a little bit better of a reason behind that. But I really like the whole dynamic of the coin is what's giving her powers, making her come back to life, just making her be. And I really wanted to see what her role is in this whole story and how she's going to play. Is she going to be protecting Shadow from afar? Is she going to go against Shadow? I'm really interested to see what happens with Laura. And Mad Sweeney is such a fun character to see the two of them together, and should be really, really fun. Okay, what else did I want to talk about? Shadow Moon. So, I'm starting to think, somebody left in one of my comments, I didn't reply to him yet, I'll get to him in a second. Actually, by the time this video is posted, I would have replied to him, so scratch that. Somebody dropped in my comments that they thought that maybe Shadow was, like, somehow the god from the beginning of that first episode. The last episode, the beginning scene of the last episode, where they show the animated scene of the god that eventually dies because nobody believes in it anymore. So he had this theory that it was maybe Shadow. Sorry, I don't have the guy's name in front of me, or girl. That it may be Shadow, that he's maybe that god. I guess, that's a really cool idea, and I didn't really think about that. And he has like a Native American name. They seemed like a Native American tribe. So it actually works and it makes sense. If they explain it right, it works for me totally. That what Shadow is basically a reincarnation or just the spirit of a lost god that has somehow moved into Shadow. Now, if they explain that right, I really like that idea a lot. So I'm hoping maybe that's what it is. But other thoughts, like my own thoughts on it, is I think that he is a demigod. I think that Shadow is the child of a god and human, a byproduct of a god and human together. That's what I personally think, and that's why he's not like some super strong, like crazy strong, like these other beings. But I believe that the reason why Wednesday needs Shadow is because Shadow is a demigod who doesn't need to be worshipped to have power. I think the power is just inherent in his blood, and it doesn't matter if he's worshipped or not. So maybe he's somehow an offspring or related to that god. That's an even more awesome idea. I like that a lot. So we'll see how it plays out. I'm really excited for the next episode. There's only a few left. I think there's 8 episodes in this season, so we only have 2 more. So it's the last 2 episodes coming up. I'm hoping that we get some good action, which I'm pretty sure we'll get. But I hope we get some more answers to things by the end of the first season. So at least we have something to work with when we're trying to figure out what's going to happen next season. And maybe the predictions will get a little bit easier. And who knows, by then, maybe I would have actually read the book, or at least the audio book. All right, that's it for this one. Sound off down below. Let me know what you think about the episode. The next one, what your predictions are for American Gods Season 1, Episode 7? Yeah, 7, I think. I think that's right. Also, let me know what you think about my videos. Any critique, always helpful, always appreciated. Thank you so much for watching. And you guys have a great day, and I will see you next time.